Tuesday, June 6, 1944. The Allied invasion of Normandy, otherwise known as Operation Overlord, better yet known as D-Day, the largest seaborne invasion in military history, beginning with the liberation of France and the Western Europe and laying the foundations for the Allied victory on the Western Front against the Nazi powers. Being somewhat of a student of military history, I can say that this was perhaps one of the biggest battles and perhaps one of the most important battles of the Second World War that became the linchpin for victory after victory of Allied forces, including the United States and some of its most famous Army divisions, including the 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One, the 82nd Airborne Division, and of course the 101st Airborne Division, the Screaming Eagles. In case everybody's probably seen the television miniseries Band of Brothers, that is where that story came from. Allied with the British 2nd Army, the 30th Corps, or 50th Infantry Division, and the 1st Corps, 3rd Canadian Infantry Division. In all, 156,000 Army military soldiers and 195,700 naval personnel were in this fight, and over 10,000 plus casualties happened during the invasion forces. All of it with the worthy cause of taking down the Nazi Reich, which included the 5th Panzer Army and their 7th Army. And here we are 80 years later, and we still talk about this particular day and this particular war. Why? Because I believe it's very important to remember the sacrifices of those who lost their lives in defense of freedom, in defense of humanity, against inhumanity in the Nazi regime. Anyone could watch a movie like Saving Private Ryan or any other World War II movie and not even come close to what these men sacrificed for. But if I have to name one movie that jumps out at me beyond the bullets and the bombs and the blood, it's a TV movie from A&E Arts and Entertainment called Ike, Countdown to D-Day, in which Tom Selleck, Magnum P.I. Tom Selleck, plays Dwight D Eisenhower, the former commanding officer, Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force, leading up to the D-Day invasion of World War II. Now, this film gives us an inner workings of all the details that went into the planning of the invasion, including frequently dealings with some of his subordinate commanders, including General Omar Bradley, played by James Raymer, General Walter Biddle, the Beetle Smith, played by Timothy Bottoms, General Sir Bernard Law Montgomery, played by Bruce Phillips, General George S. Patton, played by Gerald McRaney, and his partnership and friendship with Prime Minister Winston Churchill of the United Kingdom, played by Ian Mew. What I really love about this movie is that it's pretty factual as to what happened in the months, weeks, and days before the invasion. All the details as to what went down to it, all the way from what airborne division was going to go where, what infantry division was going to land on the beach, the weather patterns for the landings, everything. There are two scenes that jump out at me when I watch this particular movie about the D-Day invasion that doesn't have to deal with actually seeing the battles, the blood and the bullets. The first scene is where we see Eisenhower and his commanders brief King George VI, played by Mick Rose, and Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, played by Carol Cini, about Operation Overlord itself, the fine details as to how they're going to land, where they're going to land, which Panzer division the Nazis were going to throw at them, and more to the point, how they would survive and win this war. And it went down as a success for everyone. And the last scene, which is oddly enough the next to last scene of the film itself, is where General Eisenhower actually meets paratroopers of the 101st Airborne to meet the soldiers that were probably going to die the very next day during the invasion. And I think that's something that we all need to really think about. It's easy to watch a movie like Saving Private Ryan or any other World War II film that deals with the bullets and the bombs and the blood. As I said from my previous Memorial Day review of Taking Chance, it's easy for us to forget that these are people that are about to lay down their lives for their country in the defense of everything that is good and right in the world against pure evil. I think this D-Day, Remembrance Day I should say, especially now that I've seen videos and photos of D-Day veterans actually returning to France, and especially the Normandy beaches in which they landed, I think that's very important for everyone to look at and to take in. These men sacrificed so much for our country. The only thing I think any of them want us to do is to remember them.